Hey guys, welcome back. As you can see from the title, this is going to be a pretty quick video on packing a parachute. Now, I've been packing parachutes, you know, I don't know, 10, 12 years. If not, no, it's way longer than that. But a lot of people don't know how to pack parachutes. And that's fine because there's nothing really out there to tell you. The only way you really find out is if someone teaches you. It's very simple, it's not difficult, but it's a procedure that you have to get right every single time, or else it could be catastrophic. If you have a short shutdown track and your chute doesn't deploy correctly and you got these little itty bitty race brakes on it, you can run into a bunch of serious issues and put the car into the traps, set the brakes on fire because you're on them from 170, 180, 200, whatever, down. If you're going 200 in the quarter, this video is probably not for you. It's something that I've grown to want to only do myself. I don't really want anybody else doing it for me, and it comes down to a trust, not a trust issue, because like I trust my friends, but it just comes down to, I know I packed the chute. I know, sorry, I'm trying to clear a stand here so I could stop holding this thing. I know I packed the chute. And if something happens, it's on me and it's not on anyone else. And I trust myself. You know, I've packed them long enough to know how it's done. You know, I can do it with my eyes closed pretty much now. There's 3 types of parachutes. There's many different brands. I will only ever recommend Stroud. Stroud, in my opinion, makes the best parachute out there. It's the easiest to pack. It's the softest deploying. It's just all around the best system out. I've packed RJS chutes, I've packed Simpson chutes. I do not like them. I think it was a Simpson chute that hit dumb hard and it was sized right. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, it probably wasn't sized right for the car. No, it was sized right. If you're looking to put a parachute on your car because you're coming to that 150 mile an hour trap speed, jump on Stroud's website. They show you which one you would need to get. You know, it's speed versus weight. So I run a Pro Stock 430 Pro Stock, whatever. I don't have to upgrade this. The only time I have to upgrade is if I start to get near 200 and then I need to change it and go with 2 smaller ones. There's also 3 types of deployments. Now you have your spring pilot chute, which is your cheapest. It's perfect entry level. I had it on this car. I had it on my last car. All my friends have had it. It's the cheapest and it's the easiest. You bolt it on and you're done. Now, it's also the hardest to pack. The spring's like this big and this big around, and you have to get that thing compressed in and then do your bag closure around it. Is it hard? No, it's not. Is it a pain in the ass? Absolutely. When I went from a pilot spring to an air launcher, I'll never, ever, ever have any other system on any of my cars. Air launcher for life. There's also a spring launcher, and you've probably seen it's the big canister one that's behind the bag. The canister's this big. It's a monster, and what it is there's a spring inside the canister that pushes the bag out. Instead of the spring, like on a pilot spring, it pulls the bag out. This would push it. Same as an air launcher, it's just mechanical instead of air. It's got this big cranky knob on the side of it. You crank the spring back in like you're winding up an old school car. You crank this damn thing in and you slide a pin all the way through to hold this spring in. In my eyes, it was the next step from a spring pilot, but it's outdated and it's archaic. This is the best out there. It's super simple. It's the most expensive, without a doubt, but on the back of it, there's a air cylinder. Alright, so I got an air cylinder. This has a regular style mount that I just notched. This is a TMZ mount. I cut it and notched it and slid it down. The bag placement really isn't a concern. I wish it was down 1/4 inch, but that's it. It's got an air line that goes to a toggle switch, and then the air line goes all the way to my CO2 tank. You have to have a CO2 bottle. You have to have a regulator. And these chutes require 150 PSI, I want to say, for the Stroud air launcher. Any less, it's just weak deployment. And you have a plate you know, that pushes it out, and that's it. The switch of the bumper is to arm it. So when you get that thing all locked up, ready to go, it's good. You arm it, it pushes that plate up against the bag, and it's held into the big bag, the D bag, no, I'm sorry. It pushes up against the D bag, which is in the trunk, and then it's held because that's crossed over with your cable. And then when you're done with your run, you flip the switch, it dumps the air out of the cylinder, and you can push the piston back in and start it all over again. My parachute's been stuffed into the trunk since drag week, but it's time to get it out. And what made me do this was I saw someone on Facebook, like it's been weird. It's like 5 or 6 different posts in the matter of a week about packing parachutes. I'm like, you know what, let me just make a video on it. It'd be quick and easy. Don't want to store these things packed in the bag for the winter, especially on a spring chute. These things will gain memory, and you don't want that. So I always leave mine come winter time. I take it off, I unbolt it from the car, and I throw it in a box and just stick it on the shelf. But let's say you went down the return road. You know, you turned off the track, and this thing's out behind you. Just a sloppy old mess. This is usually inside out. So, because this is usually like this when I go to pick up my chute. Just all the way stretched out. The easiest way I have found to do this, hold on, I'm gonna see if I have a head mount for this GoPro. Alright, I hope you can hear me just fine, and I hope this is a good visual. So like I was saying, you got this thing dragged out from the back of your car. This is exactly how it is. You make sure you've pushed your handle back now, right? Because it's out, so you're gonna push that back. I usually do that before I'm even off the track, so I don't forget. Grab your string. Get your bag fluffed back out. Get your string in here. You should probably have a couple spares of these. I lost mine one day, and I was using the string off an ice bag. And what I do is I just take the top, the sides, and leave the bottom like that. All right, so you got this thing stretched out. Grab it. All right, I walk it back, see how it's got a tether holding it together, so these can't change. There's your last one. So this is my top tether all the way. I grab that top tether and just drop the rest, just shaking these out as I go. See how it's all twisted? I've seen people back here at the bag spinning this bag around trying to get this straight. There's no reason for it. So you grab this thing, right, and just, now you got to your first piece of fabric, and you can still see the top tether. All right, and get the edges here and just do this. See how quickly that unraveled? Done, completely unraveled. Now, make sure my D-bag is back here. I'll drop that down. D-bag will usually inside out. Just take this. This really doesn't matter if it's twisted up, but we'll untwist it anyway. All right, get your D-bag all situated back out. All right, there's your D-bag. So back to the chute. You got your parachute. You can see top lanyard all the way back to the top, left, right, bottom. So you got your hands here. You want to take your left hand, put it in your right fingers like this. All right, so it's almost sideways, and then you're gonna want to come back. All right, just, you want to check your tethers. I just saw a little fray there, that's all. Just check it periodically, make sure nothing's ripping. Stroud does service their parachutes, so you can send it in and get it repaired. And then grab the next one, slide its fingers over, slide that. All right, a little flip, get that one back in the center there. All right, so you got your parachute. Take it sideways, lay it on the ground. I come and tuck these up. All right, make it nice and flat. And I start on this side, the further away, you know, it's further away from the straps. You know, that's strap side, but I take it further away and I fold it over. Try to keep this all together. It does not need to be perfect. You don't need to have every edge up onto it perfect. Just get it nice. How do I feel? Oh, that's the knot for the D-bag. All right, and then I take it and I do it one more time. Again, it's not going to be perfect, so just get that stuck in there like this. So now you folded it twice. All right, got it completely, and now you want to S fold this. So what I do is take it right around here, fold this back like this, and then like that. Did you see that? So take it, I do it right where the first cut is, right past the first cut. I fold it in half, and then I take the top half and fold that back in half. Make sure this is pushed in. There's your S fold. And then do the same right where that edge is. Another S fold. So now you're at your tethers and you got your D-bag. Everybody does this different right here. I don't like walking this thing down, mainly because I got a bad knee. So I slide this thing up, grab it like this, and take the whole thing with me. Mind you not to get it all tangled up. I take this all the way back to the car. Get your tethers laid back out. Get my D-bag situated, and we're gonna get the chute in, and you want your tether out here. This is your first deployment. All right, so this comes out first, this second, and then the tethers. So we're gonna put that in here. I can find the edge of the bag. All right, so your chute's back in your bag. Now, people have their own way of doing this too. Some people go back and forth all the way up. Some people go around and then do that. I'm a go-arounder, we'll call it. So I take this and you don't shove it down in, you just get it up into the edge of the bag. Pretty much just piling it up and in. Just keep doing this, and when it gets too tall, I go into a smaller layer. And like I said, this is all opinion based. I've deployed a chute many of times, and I've never had one get caught. Either way, I've done both. I don't like the other way just because it doesn't work for me. Packing the pack. This seems to work the best for me. So you can try either way. Don't push it like down and in so it gets all mixed up with it. Just keep wrapping it around. Now, some people like to leave 900 feet of this hanging out. I don't know why. They got this thing almost dragging on the ground. It's just silly in my eyes, and there's no need for it. I like to have about that much slack on it. Just so if it gets caught on something, it's not pulling on anything, and that's good. There's no reason to have this thing 12 feet out. So, you could see where it's faded to where it's not on the sock. That's how much I have in there. Once you got that all in there, tuck this back in. Maybe a little less out. And now you got your packed D-bag. All right, and then I always drop my slack out the opposite side of the cable. I don't know if it does anything. I don't know if it'll hurt it. I don't know if it'll affect it any sort of way, but it's just something that I was taught. Now, take our bag. And this is where the air launcher makes life so amazingly beautiful, right? Take this, pull the top, tuck that in. At the bottom pulled out. And we're going to take our shoelace, go through the bottom hole. Make sure everything's all nice and tucked in. Now you can pull on this, beat it up pretty good. Get it in there all nice. All right, here comes a situation that a lot of people have opinions on. Here's my opinion. I do the side with the cable last. All right, and I'm gonna tell you why. So we're gonna go out to this side. All right, pull our shoelace, get our flaps in all nice and tight. And then we're gonna do this side. All right, make sure everything's all nicey nice. We'll take our cable, put it in. Pull your string away from your cable. Now I lost my pull before flight tag. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it. It fell off the car again. That's like my 4th one, so I ordered one with a clip. Pull the string away. Now this thing is ready to rock. All right, and what I do is I do that last, because if this thing comes out, there have been instances, you see I have a 3AN brake fitting. Oh, like I was saying, sorry, I had to redo this because somehow I flipped my camera up and you couldn't see it. But I have a -3 brake fitting right there, just an AN fitting, and it threads perfectly onto the outer sheath of your parachute cable. This piece right here, this end, so if you don't smooth this out, or this can get stuck on the fabric here and not allow this to deploy. So I put this last one on because if this, so this is very smooth. I took a file to this and then some sandpaper and buffed it out. It is, you know, it is very smooth, so it shouldn't ever catch on this. But if this thing pulls out and God forbid this cable gets stuck to the flap, this flap is already out. So this thing will blow back and you have your deployment. All right. Now you can see it's loose, it's thing. With a spring one, you get your D-bag in there, and then you have this, you know, the long spring, you have to push into this and get the bag wrapped around it, and it's more of a pain in the butt. Oh, let me turn on the CO2 and show you how this works. All right, CO2's on. Oh, like I said, I showed you the toggle switch. Do not stand in front of this when you arm this, because God forbid, it does not feel good. See that? You see how it's locked up now, solid? Not going anywhere. Good to go. That's ready to run. Just make sure your cable isn't too long and actually pulls out, deploys this. You know, test all this before you go racing. And when you get to the end of the track and you go to pick it up, it dumps all the air out of that cylinder, loosey-goosey, good to go. You just push your piston all the way back in, and you can pack your chute again, and it's all set. Make sure I turn off my CO2 before I get in this thing and whack the throttle and make 30 pounds of boost. Dump. There you go. Beautiful. Ready to rip. Wait for my tag to come in. You know, quick and easy, not difficult at all. I usually do it about twice as fast as that, but since I was showing you guys how to get it done, order a couple extra of these when you order your chute. And my release handle, I'll show you my release handle here. I mean, I quickly showed you, but my release handle is also air. All right, you see it? Hold on. There you go. You see it? Air cylinder, hose, Mac valve, and there's a button on my steering wheel, which I accidentally hit on drag wheel. You can drop my chute out at 300 feet, so I use the handle the rest of the time. With an air handle, you could still manually activate it. It is not one or the other. It's a fail-safe, so you can still do that. I just saw the dog take off. It's probably not good, but I was kind of hoping my landscaper showed up. Yeah, there's nothing to it. You know, it's super easy. I highly, 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 highly recommend an air launcher. It is the best bang for your buck. It's the most, like I said, it's the most expensive, but it's also the nicest. You saw how easy that was to do. I want to say with the air release handle, I'm probably like $1,000-ish into everything. This is before COVID prices, but it's worth it 100% in my eyes. Well, guys, like the video, don't like the video, you can hit a dislike too. Comment, tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. I'm open to any and all suggestions. Please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you see when a new video is up. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this thing very shortly. I think I've made up my mind on it. So stay tuned, get in your garage, grab a cold beer, get to work on your hot rod. Have a good night, guys.